Stone?
Yeah, of course.
All right. I'll show you what to do. Who's first?
Fiona.
Fiona go first. Mind your pockets, Fiona, in case you do down here. Okay? Down slowly, Fiona. Way down there.
Oh, I'm going to go out.
No, you won't go out. Pucker up to me. Good girl. Oh, that's it. Back slowly now. All right? 50. 56. 60.
How was it?
I feel it
Am I
working
gonna fall?
already.
Are you talking better already? Right down to the very bottom. Way down. Okay. Right, girl. Up slowly. Up slowly. 3. 809. Fiona and Jennifer, you have just kissed the Blarney Stone. I haven't. That's why I'm speaking so slowly. I don't have the gift of the gab. You're from where?
Canada.
Canada. How do you feel having just kissed it now?
Oh, I feel much more eloquent now. I feel I have the gift of the gab and I can
Definitely,
continue
definitely.
talking forever, I'm
Yes.
sure.
What is it that has brought you here?
Well, just the history of the castle of the Blarney Stone, Ireland itself, you know, beautiful
Probably
countryside.
the thing you hear most about
Yeah.
Ireland is Blarney Stone.
Well, when you first go over backwards, all you see is the ground, you know. It's pretty scary. But
I'm kind of short too, so I kind of fall down a little bit further than
Go
everyone.
through the bars. Oh, I think John was looking after you pretty well.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's one of shock. You know, when they come up here, you know, they're usually puffing and panting, you know, they're flying off a coach and they run up to kiss the Blarney Stone. And it's in the top of their mind, they got to kiss the Blarney Stone. No matter what they do in Ireland, they got to kiss the Blarney Stone. And when they actually get up here, well, I won't say all chicken out, but quite a percentage do chicken out. Even the heaviest ones, even heavier than I. You know, they got this feeling that they're going to actually slip through or something terrible is going to happen to them. But when they do kiss it, they go down, you got to hear them chuttering all the ways down the stairs and right through the village. So it does work. Do people genuinely believe that there will be a difference once they've kissed the stone? I think they do. You know, because the way I feel is that if they go back to the States, they at least attempt to touch it, even if they're afraid to kiss it. They at least attempt to touch it. They feel something magical is going to happen to them. And, you know, they're really impressed by it. The castle and the surrounding grounds really are most impressive indeed. But who owns them? Well, the Colthurst family, who reside in a beautiful house behind the castle, have been there for generations. Charles Colthurst explained their history.
Well, the Colthurst family have had it since 1874. The Colthurst family originated out in Ardrum in Escara in 1539. And James Jeffreys, who was then Governor of Cork in Blarney, bought the estate and lands, including the castle, off the Crown in 1701 and was here till 1874 when Miss Jeffreys married Mr. Colthurst from Ardrum, which is when the Colthurst family came back to Blarney, as it were, and we've been here since 1874.
Now, you've done a tremendous amount of work here. Just how big is the estate?
In all, there's about 900 acres, of which the bulk of it is forestry, which mainly part of that is out in Ardrum. Directly around here and around the castle is the farmland, amenity woodland, the Rockclose area, which was laid out by the Jeffreys family in 1759, and there'd be about 300 acres in all, in and around the castle itself.
Well, now, no, last year you had about 150,000 visitors who...
Just over, yes.
Who wanted to kiss the Blarney Stone.
Yes.
Obviously, they're looking for the gift of the gab, and your family doesn't need that at all. But apart from the money that brings in, it must cost quite a lot to run a place like this.
The costs are very high, and they get higher each year. The main items we spend on repairs and maintenance, wages, obviously, public liability insurance, which is astronomical and keeps going up, and obviously rates. And then after that we have things like shrubs and trees and general running repairs, fuel, everything keeps going up year by year. So one tries to hope that there'll be an increase in tourism each year, but if it dips, which it did for some reason this year below last year, it slightly upsets one's budget prediction. So one hopes that 1988 we'll see an increase.
I'd say a lot of people, though, when they arrive, Charles, might be expecting either an Irish leprechaun to own the castle. They might be quite surprised when they hear your dulcet tones saying, do come into my castle.
Well, I like to keep myself out of the way, obviously, and if they want to think they're going to see a leprechaun or whatever, then that's equally good. I think half the joy of the history of the mythical stone is that nobody's really quite sure where it originated from. And I think there's many stories on whichever one suits you can take away and believe.
To which one do you lend the most credence, or does it suit you not to have any of them being believed as long as people come and kiss it?
I think as long as they keep coming and they believe in the gift of the gab, I think proof of its eloquence as it is now in the Oxford Dictionary as a descriptive word.
You want to kiss the Blarney Stone?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd love to.
I think the main historical documented thing is in the reign of Queen Elizabeth, when she was having trouble with some of the local military, and when the local representative reported back to her in London, you know, he couldn't give her any definite replies, and her description of the local chief was that he was all Blarney, and I think from then on it began to drift into the language.
It's like anything, you know, if you're living close to a place, you take it for granted. I'll do it next week, I'll do it the week after, you know, and I have some friends coming from such a place next week, and I'll do it then. But no, I think that a lot of people, when they do come up and kiss it, they're glad they've done so, and they often wonder why I didn't do it years back. Ready to go? Yeah. Okay. Hang on to the two poles there for me, right? Right down out to the very bottom. Good man. Right down.
You know this?
A little bit more, there. Beautiful.
Well, for many people, mainly Americans, this is the culmination of a lifelong ambition to actually get and kiss the Blarney Stone. Now, while for them it may just be the gift of the gab that they're after, for many people here in Blarney, it really has spawned a thriving industry. I'm exhausted after that.
I think there was about 1,000 people living in the village in 1963. I think the last count was about 3,500 people. I think a lot of those are people working in Cork, but obviously the Blarney Wool Mills is a great employer of people and has obviously benefited greatly from the old stone behind us.
I think the funniest thing I remember going back about 3 years ago, there was a tree coming up towards the top of the castle, about 70 feet up, and it was a very, very busy summer's day. And I remember the tour and all that came in, they were flying through, and this lady went on, beautiful head of hair, and when she came back up, she hadn't a rib. She was totally bought. She actually lost her wig, and it fell right down into the tree. And I always remember it happened around lunchtime. We had a little bit of difficulty to recover it. But she was like one of the other sex, you know, have their heads shaved, and she had to go off with somebody's cardigan, you know, wrapped around her head, you know, to cover her blushes.
Anything that we've opened to the public now, we will extend in terms of trees and shrubs and walks. There's quite a lot of paths and walkways here that have got covered up and overgrown because my great-grandfather, he didn't spend a great deal of money.
A bit tight with the money, was it?
A bit tight with the money. I think they tended to spend it on other things. But I view us as stewards of the castle and the grounds for the public and for the international tourists. And that's going pretty well. We've taken on quite a lot of extra gardening stuff.
And what are you going to do when everyone has the gift of the gab and there's no one left to come here?
Well, I don't know. Maybe the Japanese market will start to come in, and then there's the Chinese, of course, who haven't been tapped.
The mind boggles.